Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority.
105.9 FM, WMAL.
7:37 on WMAL. Fox News national security analyst KT McFarland joins us now. You can also check her out this afternoon on live.foxnews.com for DEF CON 3. The show starts at 2 o'clock on the web. We've spent a lot of time this morning talking about the president's speech last night, KT, focusing on the economics of it. But he did touch on national security, although not as much as in years past. What did you make of his comments about where we are as a nation when it comes to Iraq, Afghanistan, and the global threat of terrorism?
Yeah, well, I've worked on State of the Union addresses before, and they tend not to be that great for speechifying, and this one is no exception. And this one, I think, frankly, President Obama sounded more like the student council president who said, vote for me, and I'm going to ban homework. He's promised something he can't deliver. And all those economic promises, the fact of the matter is we're broke. So what does he have to fall back on? His foreign policy stuff. Well, what is that? His finest moment, and the moment that he relives in his own mind as why he should be reelected, is the bin Laden raid. And it was a fine moment, but it was only a moment. And that's the problem. He's, Afghanistan, Iraq, kind of shoved under the rug. Iran, well, we're going to deal with Iran later, but they're not going to get nuclear weapons. Well, the problem with all those things is, come November, if there are crises with Iraq and Afghanistan and Iran, and I believe there will be, then, the bin Laden raid is maybe great in his mind, but it's kind of left everybody else's.
You also said that Taliban's momentum has been broken. Would you agree with that assessment?
Oh, Jesus. Here's the thing. That Afghanistan stool always had three legs. Yeah. And one leg was the Taliban and the military and our surge. And, we have broken the momentum. Mm-hmm. And that's one really great, strong leg. The problem is they're two completely hopeless legs. And that's the Pakistani safe havens. So we may have broken that Taliban, but they're going to run back to Pakistan, regenerate, come right back to fight again. So until you get that second leg strong, the first leg doesn't matter. And the third leg is the Karzai government. Even the CIA, the National Intelligence Estimate, like 10 days ago, came out and said that the corrupt, incompetent Karzai government is never going to hold together. So the minute we leave Afghanistan, in fact, before we leave Afghanistan, the civil war will begin.
I'm wondering about Iran for a moment, because we have now 2 aircraft carriers in the area. We've taken 15,000 troops and stationed them in Kuwait. The Europeans are turning up the pressure on Iran and saying that they're not going to import any Iranian oil. Mm-hmm. And it seems like we are headed for something there. How do you see it?
Well, I have a piece on this on the Fox News website, and it's called Option C for Iran. And it's a long opinions editorial piece. And I've said that we've always had those two options, bomb Iran, let Iran get the bomb. And they've always been lousy options. And so the quest has been to find that third option. And I think we actually, for the first time, have that possibility because, as you said, Brian, we now have pretty much unified Western attention to putting in a new round of sanctions. Now, what do those sanctions mean? It means a blockade, really, of Iranian oil, but using banks. The second thing is that the Saudis have said they're going to pump more oil. They're going to make up for the loss of any Iranian oil. And the third thing is something President Obama, I thought, interestingly enough, referred to last night in his speech, which is all the energy advances in natural gas and oil that we in the United States have come upon in the last year or two. And it sort of sounded like he was finally going to take his handcuffs off the U.S. energy industry. However, he's never going to let that pipeline come through, right, unfortunately.
Story out today in the Washington Times. I'll just read the first sentence. Libyans are accusing their new rulers of corruption, secrecy, and nepotism just 3 months after Muammar Gaddafi died. Yeah. Is this the new normal?
Yeah, and it's the old normal, too.
Yeah.
Anytime you have a country kind of a made-up country, particularly a country where one strong man has kept many tribes and ethnic groups sort of under his wraps because he's kept them with an iron fist, and whether that's in Yugoslavia at the end of World War II, whether that's the Ottoman Empire, whether that's the British Empire, whether that's Iraq, or whether now it's Libya. Once you get rid of the strong man, it may make everybody feel good for a few minutes, but then all those tribal ethnic groups, all those rivalries start bubbling to the top, and they start fighting with each other.
We did learn last night that the Navy SEALs were at it again in Somalia, a nighttime helicopter mission where they went after a pirate camp and freed 2 hostages, an American and a Danish, and I believe killed all 9 pirates that were in that camp.
Yeah, and I think that's why Admiral McCraven was there, who is the former head of the U.S. SEAL operation, longtime SEAL, and camera kept going to him and identifying him by name but not by mission. The president's own are the U.S. Navy SEALs, and they have been the group to give him all the claims that he's had to success in foreign policy, I think, and it shouldn't detract from his achievements to say that they're really an incredible group of people, and we should never forget. And I think the president's closing lines in his speech, where he talked about the U.S. military, particularly the SEALs, where they work together and they don't care what party they're in or what race they are or what background they have. They all have each other's backs, and that's what Americans should do. And I wish he would actually do what he says in evoking the U.S. Navy SEALs, but they sure are an incredible group of people.
All right, KT, good to talk to you as always. We appreciate it.